This story comes from a woman named Sarah. She was traveling alone for work, a conference in another city. She booked a mid-range hotel, nothing fancy, just somewhere to sleep for 3 nights. The first night was normal. She checked in, ordered room service, and went to sleep early. But around 2 a.m., she woke up to a sound. Breathing. Not her own. She lay completely still, eyes open in the darkness. The room was pitch black, the curtains were thick. She reached slowly for her phone on the nightstand. The breathing stopped. She turned on her flashlight and scanned the room. Nothing. The door was locked, chain still on. She checked the bathroom. Empty. The closet. Empty. She told herself it was a dream and went back to sleep. The second night, she placed her suitcase against the closet door before bed, just for peace of mind, she told herself. At 3 a.m., she woke up again. The suitcase had moved. Not far, maybe 6 inches, but it had moved. She grabbed her phone and called the front desk. The staff came up, searched the room, and found nothing. They offered her a new room. She accepted immediately. It was only when she was checking out on day 3 that the manager pulled her aside with a pale face. He told her quietly that maintenance had discovered a false panel in the closet of her original room. Behind it, a small hidden space. Just big enough for a person to sit in. And inside that space, they found an empty water bottle, still cold.
This one was submitted by a man named Daniel. He and his college friends rented a cabin in the mountains for a long weekend. 4 guys, middle of nowhere, no Wi-Fi, just nature. They arrived late Friday evening. The GPS had taken them down a dirt road for almost 40 minutes. When they finally saw the cabin, they were relieved. It looked exactly like the photos. They unloaded the car, cracked open drinks, and stayed up until 2 a.m. just talking and laughing. Daniel was the last one awake. He stepped outside for some air. That's when he saw it. Across the tree line, maybe 300 meters away, there was another cabin. No lights on. Completely dark. He hadn't noticed it when they arrived. He didn't think much of it. He went to bed. Saturday morning, one of his friends noticed the door to the cabin's storage room, a small room off the kitchen, was already open when they woke up. They assumed someone had opened it during the night looking for extra blankets. Nobody had. That afternoon, Daniel walked around the property. He followed the tree line toward the other cabin he'd seen. He found it. But it wasn't really a cabin. It was a shell. Walls, no roof, abandoned for years. Clearly nobody lived there, so he looked around the inside. On the dirt floor, there were boot prints, fresh ones, going toward his cabin. Daniel ran back. He called the rental company immediately. They told him something that made his stomach drop. Their cabin wasn't supposed to be rented that weekend. There had been a system error. The booking was fake. His credit card had been charged by a third-party scam site that used the real cabin's photos. They were technically trespassing, and someone else knew they were there. They packed in 11 minutes. Daniel said he knows because he watched the timer on his phone the entire drive down the mountain, waiting for headlights to appear behind them. None did. But to this day, he doesn't know who made those boot prints. The last story comes from a couple, Maya and her husband Rehan. They were celebrating their anniversary at a historic hotel, the kind with old architecture, long corridors, and portraits on the walls. Beautiful, romantic, old, too old, as it turned out. They were given room 214. Maya said the moment she walked in, she felt uncomfortable. Not scared, just wrong. Like the air in the room was heavier than it should be. She didn't say anything to Rehan. She didn't want to ruin the trip. The first night, she had a dream. A woman standing in the corner of the room, facing the wall, just standing, not moving. She woke up at 4 a.m. She looked at the corner. She doesn't talk about what she saw. She only says that she woke Rehan up immediately, and they sat with every light in the room on until morning. At breakfast, Maya asked the elderly woman at the front desk about the history of room 214, casually, as if just curious. The woman's expression changed. She leaned forward and said, very quietly, "We don't usually put guests in that room." Maya asked why they were put there then. The woman checked the computer and frowned. "I don't know," she said. "You're not showing as checked in at all in our system." They had a printed confirmation. The charge was on their card. But according to the hotel system, room 214 had been empty for 6 years because of what happened to the last guest who stayed there. The woman wouldn't say more. Maya and Rehan left that morning. She still hasn't deleted the photo she accidentally took at 4 a.m. When she grabbed her phone in panic, she says she'll never show it to anyone. But she also says she'll never delete it because she needs to know it was real.